Hey Bagmaker, I'm Sarah Lawson from Sew Sweetness. Thanks so much for joining me for Sewcial Sunday, my weekly sewing chat. Hey everyone, happy Sunday and welcome to Sewcial Sunday. Thanks so much for joining me for the show. As you can see by the empty chair next to me, Danny will be joining me on set in just a minute. Julie's watching from California. Diane is wishing everyone a happy Mother's Day. And Wendy is also watching. So thank you everyone for tuning into the show. So my regular spam reminder, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, if you're a Facebook viewer, if you ever receive any private messages from an avatar that appears to look like Sew Sweetness, sometimes we'll be asking for information like your phone number, credit card number, asking you to send money in exchange for receipt of the prize. Please do report and or block that. And if you're watching over on YouTube, if you've left a comment on the show and see a reply with an avatar that appears again to look like Sew Sweetness, usually asking for wired money, credit card information, Venmo, phone number, anything like that, please do report or block that. I always announce the winner's name verbally on the show, and we also have the winner's name typed into the description of the show. A few reminders on some things that are going on over on the blog. Today is the first day of the second week of the Enigma Pouch Sew Along. You still have time in case you haven't started your pouch but would like to participate. Week 1 is also still open on the blog. So weeks 1 and 2 are open for you to upload your photos. Week 3 I'll be posting next Sunday, and week 3 is the last portion of the sew along. If you have any issues uploading your photo for either week 1 or week 2, feel free to email that photo over to sarah@sewsweetness.com, and we'd be happy to get that uploaded for you. And also the May Challenge is underway, and the May Challenge has 2 different options for participating. You can either make any Sew Sweetness project that you intend to use for travel, maybe a pouch for your toiletries, maybe you're making the Cavalcade travel bag, any Sew Sweetness bag used for travel. You can upload your photo for that challenge, or the second portion of the challenge is to post your Enigma pouch. So if you are participating in the sew along, you can sort of double dip with the sew along and the May challenge, and the links for both of those are in the description. All right, so I think I mentioned last week the Hello Spring quilt that I was working on, that quilt with the ladybugs and the flowers. So I got all my pieces cut out except for my background fabric, and I actually have been using these. Bronwyn reminded me that we sell these alpha biddies in the shop with little thin plastic letters and number tiles, and so I've been using those to attach to my fabric, because in this particular pattern she labels everything A, B, C, D, all the pieces, and so I thought it was really handy to label my pieces so I can get them sorted before sewing them together. I'm going to start sewing up the ladybugs this week. Hello, Danny.
Hi. Sorry.
Lots of things on the sewing table as always. We did have a lot of questions Danny mentioned to me on last Sunday's show about the screwdriver that I was using for showing the zipper ends, and so Danny wanted to talk about the screwdriver that I was using. Well,
Sarah wanted me to talk about it.
I wanted you to talk about it, yes, because on the shows I usually do majority of the talking, and I thought, well, here's Danny's opportunity. This is something he can be knowledgeable about. So Danny's going to discuss the screwdriver, and there's also a link in the description in case you're interested in checking that out. So I don't know if you want to switch to the...
First, I'll show what it is.
Okay.
So it comes in this nice handy case. Inside that case, you'll have a bunch of adapter bits and a nice screwdriver, and we'll go overhead. These adapter bits on the side of it actually have, I don't know if it's going to...
No, it's not.
I don't know if we have the focus on. Okay. Anyways, the bits itself on each of the case has what it is. So you see like the plus, standard,
Oh,
fill
I didn't even know that.
And
okay.
it's got a plethora of different, not just normal size ones, normal star, squares.
What does all this mean? These numbers over here, the
That's
size,
the size.
of the item.
Yeah, so it's like a square bit, S1, S0,
Okay.
triangle. It's even got like the open. It's got other kind of star bits. Put it like that.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
It has a huge amount of unique bits that you would normally never even use or see. It's just awesome they offer that in the package, which I find it to be super cool.
How do you get those? How do you get those out of there?
So each side has a cap that comes off. It's like a little rubber grommet, and so I take both caps off first. Then I just take one finger and push it through, and it lets you pull it out.
Oh, I see. They're all
Each
organized.
of these little rings are rubber. So it'll let you, if you want to take one on and off, you just pop it out and pop back in. It's pretty much that easy.
Easy, very easy.
And they're already organized, so you just keep them the same when you work with them. Just take one at a time, so you keep them in the same order. And then put them back together. Just put a little rubber grommet back on. That's nice about this handy case is if you're going somewhere with this, or it's got magnets that hold it together, so it locks it. It holds the drill, or power screwdriver, I guess, plus one of the assortments of bits you're using.
So probably the one you use most commonly.
Or if you're going to do something and you know what you need,
okay,
you just
got it.
pre-plan, pack it together, and it comes in a nice case that holds it together. It doesn't put it in your car. You leave it in your glove box. I've charged this thing one time, and Sarah's used it a bunch, and I build mechanical keyboards for myself and the kids, and it still has a battery. I mean, it still has a charge. It's got a light too, so when you're working on something, even in the dark, you can see what you're doing.
And this is how to charge it over here on the tip?
Yeah, put it like this. Yeah,
Right
it's
here?
a USB-C.
Yeah.
Actually, this is a USB mini. I don't think it's USB-C, actually. I've had this since 2020.
Does the charger cable come with it? Or?
Yes, it does.
Oh, okay.
You can plug your computer to charge it. It comes with the cable to plug in here. Then you plug it into a USB port. You can use an old cell phone charger. That also applies towards it.
Okay. Do you want to maybe...
I'll put a bit in so you can see what
here,
it does
you could screw this.
What is that? Phillips? A star bit?
Yes.
So let's look at our handy dandy pictures. I see stars in this one. So let's take our caps off. Slide it out.
It was the smallest one is the one I used.
Let's see if she's telling the truth or not. Yep, smallest one does fit perfectly.
This is the zipper ends that I was
So I'll put
showing
it in
last
here.
week. Yeah.
So the tip is also magnetic. So when you pull it in, watch, it'll just suck it in. Oh, there it goes. I guess you gotta put it closer. So it's actually a little difficult to pull out, but when you get closer, it just pulls in and locks in, and that's how it locks in. So it won't, like you could try to make it come out, it won't come out. It's also magnetized to the tip. So once you get it started on here, it'll stay on the tip.
That's cool. Oh, and there's the light working?
Yep.
Cool.
So if you were if you're gonna screw
You can
it in
screw
here,
it in there if you want. It's fine. I could just unscrew it when I'm done.
Okay. Start it. And it's a great thing about this tool as well. Say if it got stuck and it couldn't go no further, it's like it's too much torque needed to screw it in that this could provide. You still hold it in the forward position and say it stops. You just leave it forward position and you crank it like a manual screwdriver, and it's strong enough to hold. It won't break it or
I see what
damage
you're
it,
saying.
but it allows you to hand crank it further, which is pretty cool about it. And like I say, the battery's been amazing on this. I'm very surprised how long it's lasted with one charge.
I see some people are asking where we got it from. Is the link in the description?
The link is in the description.
Okay. Yeah, Danny put the link in the description in case you're interested in that.
Yeah, we did purchase this. It wasn't given to us. I loved it so much. I bought it for my friend Nate a couple months after getting it because I love the size, form factor, and for a lot of the stuff you do with electronics or any you're tinkering with stuff, this is an amazing device for electronical equipment. You could take a laptop part, a computer case, just many different parts are used with this cell phone, small stuff.
Well, and as sewist, there's a lot of things like the zipper ends, or there's a lot of opportunities to have like a tiny little screwdriver around.
And if you want, you could store both those in that as well.
Oh, okay.
Then you just keep this in your drawer, or if you near whatever you want to do. But it reverse backwards this way, forward this way. And if it's too tight, you hold down forward and just
Oh,
crank
Gina
it.
was asking if it reverses. I don't think...
this is reverse right here. And this is forward.
Oh, okay. So the top section. Gotcha.
Like you're going in this way, and you're driving it out this way.
Oh, okay.
So think like a directional.
Excellent. Well, thank you for the demonstration,
Yep.
Danny. Oops.
I thought it'd be cool to carry those in the shop. I don't know why I'd want more of them, but maybe not the best use for our shop. But you can get on Amazon. They're readily available. They have many variants. It's called a Wow Stick. The one I linked is the direct one I purchased, but there are many variants available. So
Are there like some with less attachments if you don't need so many, or?
I didn't look fully into it, but they do. When I purchased mine, they had one with less, but it was only like $1 or $2 cheaper, so it didn't seem worth it.
Okay,
But they
gotcha.
have ones that are a little bigger, so if you know you're going to use something that's more heavy duty, so that one's great because it's so
really?
narrow, it fits in tight spots.
Okay,
But they do have ones that are a little larger from the same company.
interesting. All right, so we'll get over to your pick of the week. Picks of the
Okay.
week.
All right, my picks of the week are Cheryl made this.
Miss Flower water bottle tote.
Yep, I loved it. You got Disney on there. You win with me. I've been itching to go to Disney for a couple years now. She also made this book cover, I think, for her husband's Bible. I love quilting, as you'll see in the pictures coming up. But quilting is one of my favorite things you can do to a bag to make it extra pizzazz. Then Jessica made this awesome the
Bellevue
new teal
pouch?
pink. Yeah, I was gonna say the fabric.
Okay.
Yeah. Quilting again, great piece in the center. She did some awesome work with that. She's got cotton candy. That's the coin periwinkle. What is it? Coin purse.
Yeah.
Is that persimmons?
Yeah.
Michelle Graham made this awesome.
No, it's a Suffolk. Sorry.
Stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Michelle made this. What are these?
Catalan storage.
There you
cube.
go. Yeah, what Sarah said. And her friend, who's named Buddy, it's her cat, just loves her storage cubes. So she made like a little fun kitty condo, I guess. Super cool. And I'm not saying it's my favorite, but this was definitely my favorite from Tina. Doctor Who backpack. I love the fabric on the outside, and I loved her photography of it. And then when she opened
The
the
fabric
panel,
on the inside is so
oh my
cool.
God, was that so cool? That's all the different Doctor Who's, each iteration of his regenerations. This is like the classic Doctor Who's. I don't see the newer ones, but still. And if you look at the poles, that's DW for Doctor Who, and that's the TARDIS, which is his traveling device. It's known to be bigger on the inside. And Tracy made these Enigma pouches, and I love the fabric she did it. You know, the teal pink was great. I don't know what the Middle Texas one was, but I thought it was super cool with the poles and the colors.
Yeah.
Great job.
Yeah, great job, everyone. I know you always get excited for your picks of the week, going to choose the projects. And
Yep.
Jan says, Danny, did you have time to look into laser printers yet? I am also interested in purchasing one.
Yep, I went with a Brother laser printer, which I had purchased about a year and a half ago for a shop. About a year ago, actually. And I went and stole it, and I was very happy with it because I've been printing with all of our orders. And
Do you remember the model number? Or do you want me to go over there and look? I'll go over there.
I want to say it's like 2200L, but you can go look.
I'll go look.
Good luck finding it. The great thing about this Brother, when I purchased it, it was on refurbished sale from Brother directly. And I want to say, believe it or not, with the sale, I think I paid like $40 for it only.
Okay, ready, Danny?
Yep.
HL
HL
L2
L2
L2320D.
320D. So 2320D
Yeah.
is the number. And this one is great because it's one of the last generations of Brothers that allows you to use generic toner cartridges. It doesn't have a microchip on there, so you can buy them from Amazon. I did some reviews when I did purchase this a while back, but I'm still looking for a color laser printer for the household use. But I'm not in a super rush. Not until the kids say have to print something. Then I'll worry
They usually
about it.
don't really ask.
Yeah,
print stuff.
that's the truth. They do most of their projects on the iPad.
All right, so we left plenty of time for questions.
Wanda, real quick.
Oh, sure.
Can we see those pics on the Facebook page? All the pictures are from the Facebook group.
Yep, not the page, the So Sweetness Facebook group. Yep. If you have a question for me, it can be a general sewing question about a notion or tool, bag making question. If you have a question about my sewing history, feel free to ask your question in the comments, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. Before we get over to the questions, I wanted to announce the winner of last week's giveaway, and that winner is Kenda McCormack. So
Yay.
congratulations to Kenda.
Congratulations.
Please email me after the show. Danny's going to put my email address up on the screen. Email me after the show so that I can get you connected with your prize. And there's another giveaway at the end of the show, so stay tuned for that as well. All right, Danny, take it away with the questions. Janet says, can you use a laser printer for making bags? I'm assuming for printing the pattern pieces. The answer
It's
is...
the same as a normal printer. It's nothing special. There's no size difference. It's just a standard. The one we have is just a standard printer that it prints well. Our old printer worked great. I love that printer. Only problem was we didn't print enough color pictures often, so the head would dry up over time. And the black and white printing would use some color sometimes, and it would give us like lines, and I would have to clean it. And they do have a little cartridge. When you clean it, it shoots the jets, so it wastes some ink. And at the point I was out of the ink, and I was like, what should I do? And I'm like, I had that laser printer, and I was like a little frustrated with the one because of the cleaning of the ink jets was more than I wanted to do all the time. Like every 3 weeks or so I'd have to do that. But yeah, I like the laser a lot. I'm really happy with it. And laser you can use for making bags just like anyone.
Teresa says, I'm curious why ShapeFlex 101 isn't used on the pieces for the pockets. That's a good question. So the question Teresa's asking is for the zipper pockets. Usually I just have the actual fabric with no interfacing. You certainly could use ShapeFlex for the zipper pockets if you wanted. I guess I was trying to minimize interfacing in certain areas, meaning the zipper pocket. But again, if you'd prefer to have it on there, there's no harm in putting the ShapeFlex on your zipper pocket pieces. That's totally fine. Shannon says, I'm a few minutes late. Have you already talked about Danny's screwdriver? We did already talk about it. After the show, you can...
If you're on YouTube, you can actually go back right now and watch it then.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
YouTube allows you to go back once it starts streaming.
Interesting. Connie says, have you heard of slick fabric? Is it similar to vinyl? I admit I have not heard of slick fabric, but if you're watching the show live and you have heard of slick fabric, let us know in the comments. Or if you've used it, let us know what you think of it, and Danny will try to search out for your comments to post them up on the screen. Kathy says, hummingbirds are back in Nova Scotia. Are they back there yet? Yes, they just returned. I first saw them earlier on this past week, so I'm very excited. Some of my hummingbird loving plants that I planted the last couple years are blooming right now, so they're happy with that. I saw them searching for bugs, and I at least saw a male and a female. Obviously, it's hard to determine how many males and females, but I for sure saw. We get the ruby-throated here in the Chicago area, and yep, they're definitely back. Very excited. Ray says, what interfacing is the most washable? I'm making a duffel and or gym bag with home decor and waterproof canvas lining, still choosing the pattern. I think I don't usually use waterproof canvas. I think that one can't go in the dryer, but the interfacings that I normally use, like the ShapeFlex by Annie's foam interfacing, those can go in the washer or dryer. I'm assuming you'll skip the dryer for if you're using waterproof canvas. I'm sure I talked about washing and drying a bag on a past show. I don't know if I have that as a separate blog post or separate video, but if you check out the So Sweetness YouTube channel, maybe wash a bag, hopefully that one will come up. Either a separate video or the segment from when I talked about it during Sewcial Sunday. Jan Marie says, I have read you can print on cork to make bag tags, maybe. I'm sure someone's asked me that in email in the past. I don't recall the answer.
You know who does it is Heartwood and Hyde, who makes custom tags.
Oh, okay.
She gets cork from us, and I know for a fact I've seen her use her laser to etch tags, and she also prints on the cork, because I assume it's printing because it's color. And she makes some really cool tags.
Yeah, I don't know anything about.
Yeah, send her a message. Heartwood and Hyde is her tag. I believe it's her website as well as Instagram.
Well, yeah, she makes custom tags, so you can purchase the tags directly on her website.
Yeah. Really cool stuff. Tell her Danny sent you.
Suzanne says, what's the difference between EB Fuse and Shape Flex? EB Fuse is sold by Emmeline Bags in Canada. I believe the width is wider than Pollen Shape Flex. Pollen Shape Flex is 20 inches wide. I haven't personally used EB Fuse. I believe they're similar, but let me know in the comments if you have used EB Fuse. Stacy says, I'm interested in the Paladin pouch. How complicated is it to figure out how it all goes together? I do have step photos for all of the patterns, but I feel like this one, there's a lot of, I don't want to call it origami. There's a lot of like matching pieces up so that everything works out in the end. So if you're nervous about it, we do have the video option available to purchase. So you can get the pattern in the video for $15. Or if you just want the pattern by itself, the pattern by itself is $9. So I guess it's up to you what you feel confident about, but the video option is there in case you're interested in that. Janet says, what machine is best
You can
for
take a drink of water real
cutting
quick.
fabrics?
Keep reaching for it. Just go ahead and take a break. Question's not going nowhere.
I personally have the Cricut Maker. It uses SVG files for cutting out fabric. There's other brands and models out there, Brother, Silhouette. So there's other choices. If you do use an electric cutting machine, let us know in the comments so we can see what machines everyone is using. And Rosemary says, Sarah, do I have to use a different needle to sew on faux leather handles? I sew on a Juki. So I usually use a 9014 Microtex needle, either the Organ brand or the Schmetz brand. It probably will depend on the thickness of the faux leather. I have used that same needle for bag making as well as for sewing either leather or faux leather, but it's always good to do a little test scrap of fabric using the same combinations of either fabric or interfacing. And you can also check your tension, you can check your stitch length, and you can check how your stitches look before moving on to work on the actual bag. Popping in late, have you ever printed your own fabric for bags or considered having cut to size panels produced that would use your patterns with little to no waste? I haven't printed my own fabric for bags. I would highly recommend, I'm not sure if you have like a certain design on your computer that you would like to have printed. I recommend the website Spoonflower if that's the case. You can upload your fabric designs that are designed with a repeat and have those printed out in different substrates of fabric such as quilting cotton. I think they have fleece. I think they have sport fabric, so they have all sorts of different substrates. I haven't considered pre-cut panels just because there's just so many fabric choices out there. I did do a segment on Sewcial Sunday maybe a year or two ago about printing fabric labels. You can find that on my YouTube channel. I think maybe print labels or print fabric. And those are sheets that go in your home printer. And I feel like those are best for, like I mentioned, like fabric labels if you're making it for a gift and you want to have your company name in there, something like that, or make a custom label. I feel like the print at home fabric is better for that rather than printing for a whole project. I think if you needed custom fabric for a whole project, I think I'd suggest Spoonflower for that. Zena says, I'm new to bag making. What is a good vinyl to start with for a regular sewing machine? So my friend Natalie, her website is So Hungry Hippie. She sells lots of vinyls, including a really soft vinyl that's good for sewing for beginners just because it's thinner, it's more forgiving to work with. And again, her website is So Hungry Hippie. Oh, thank you, Betty. Betty says, would love to see pictures of your wildflowers. I don't think many of them have bloomed yet. Some of them are still emerging, like the various milkweeds I noticed are just starting to emerge. I'm still planting a lot, and I feel like a lot of my plants are, I only started planting 3 years ago, and so some of my plants are on the younger side and not very robust yet. I feel like out of everything that I've planted so far in the last 3 years, the showy goldenrod is the most robust. Like right now the leaves are green and it's quite a big size, like maybe bigger than a basketball size already. And then in the fall, I'm going to have lots of yellow flowers from the goldenrod. So I guess when I get some more blooms, maybe in the middle of summer, I will try to certainly post some progress photos for the show. Michelle Grace says,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll go back to it.
okay.
Go ahead and get that one.
Christine says, By Annie's has their own brand of clear vinyl for pockets called Slicker. Oh, that's what it was. Okay, sorry. My brain did not connect the By Annie's vinyl with Slicker, but yes, By Annie has a 16 gauge clear vinyl. We also have it on the website. It comes on a roll, and it's awesome if you need clear vinyl for a project. Rather than tissue paper, which is my previous experience with clear vinyl, the tissue paper doesn't really stick to the vinyl, and it's tricky for cutting out because it's clear. And the By Annie clear vinyl has paper actually like kind of a cardstock almost attached to it, and so it's really handy for drawing out your pieces and cutting out the clear vinyl because the paper stays attached until you peel it away. Michelle Grace says, have you used a Cricut Maker for any projects? Just wondering if I should purchase one. I guess it depends. I have used it for non-bag projects, like I made some t-shirts, I cut out fabric for other projects, and they had some practice projects that came with the machine. So I tend to use it more for those types of things rather than cutting out my fabric for a bag, but that is certainly an option as well. I guess it depends on, I guess if you need assistance cutting out your fabric, if you want to just have the machine cut out your fabric so you can do something else in the meantime, the Cricut Maker is an option as well. Michelle Graham also put together a video on using the SVG files in the Cricut Maker specifically. You can find that on my website under the bag making techniques section, also on YouTube. And Michelle just walks you through how to actually use the software to pull up a So Sweetness SVG file in order to cut out your fabric. Rob says, how to wash a bag would make a great bag lab. I think I'll try to find that link after the show, and if I'm able to locate it, I'll add it to the description of tonight's show. Carrie says, Slicker, oh, thank you. That's making sense. Slicker is made by Lazy Girl. It's like laminating any cotton fabric you want to stick on vinyl. Oh, okay. Thank you for the clarification, Carrie. So the Slicker is meant to attach to the fabric to turn it into a vinyl fabric. I haven't personally used that particular product, but I've used other either iron-on vinyls or something similar in the past. I do have a video on the Pellon vinyl fuse and then one other product. I think that video is called Iron on Vinyl. If you go to the So Sweetness YouTube channel and type that in the search box there, that'll come up. Oh, I answered this one already. Anne says, I'm really nervous about attaching the top portion of the Enigma pouch to the bottom portion at the zipper part. Do you think you could do a close-up demo of that part? I'm assuming you mean the very end when you attach to the bottom panel. Since all the videos came with the Minikins projects, I know if that's the step that I'm thinking of, I know I talked about that one in greater detail because I feel like it was very specific how everything goes together. But if you watch the video and you still have questions, you can feel free to email me and I'm happy to help. Danny's going to put my email address up on the screen one more time. I don't actually have anything in addition to that just because I don't have a piece cut out and ready to sew, unfortunately, but I'm happy to, if you have a question, walk you through the answer via email. Amanda says, I'm newer to my Juki 18 QVP. Congratulations on your new machine. Do you ever use Text 65 from Juki Junkies? I started using it for my bag making and had some tension issues. Any suggestions? I have not personally used that thread, but if you are watching live and you have, let us know in the comments if you've used the Text 65 threads. Rob says, can the Cricut Maker cut Annie's foam? I know it can. I haven't personally done that. I'm thinking in Michelle Graham's video that she did address which blade she uses for the foam, but if not, if you check out that video on my blog and it's not mentioned, let me know and I'm happy to check on the blade. Or if you're watching and you cut out foam with your Cricut Maker blade, let us know in the comments what blade you're using. Could you share the name of the fabric that you used on the rectangular Catalan storage cube? So the one that I made in, did I make it in the video? I don't know if this is the one you're talking about, since I happen to have it here. This is designed by Tim Holtz, and I think it was called Expedition. Joan says, do you have a video for ironing a finished bag? It's hard to get into some parts. I think I did demonstrate that on Sewcial Sunday. If I'm remembering that particular demonstration, I don't think I was super happy with it because I think the camera view was like really tight. Maybe we'll try to hit that one up one more time as far as ironing. Let me see. Can you actually pass me that project right? Or you know what, I'll just use this one since it's smaller. If you have trouble getting into parts that are tight, and I don't know if this is a part on the outside of the bag or the inside, this is one of the Minikins 4 projects. I often will like to do, and you'll want to test this out on a small area of the fabric first before you do it on the whole project, but what I will often do is finger press it using some Wonder Clips, and by that I mean I'll just go ahead and kind of roll the seam and make it how I would like it to look in the finished bag, and then add some Wonder Clips for an hour or two. Just let them sit there. This seam is pretty thick just because I have some binding here, but I'll just go ahead and add Wonder Clips all the way around, and same thing on this bottom portion. Anywhere you need it to look more pressed and finished, I'll leave the Wonder Clips on for an hour or two, and then when I take them off, especially if you're using quilting cotton, you might see a little temporary mark in the fabric, but it'll sort of smooth out, and you can certainly iron it after, but I like the Wonder Clips for kind of finger pressing the edges because I don't know, sometimes when I start ironing a bag, I uniron certain portions depending on how I need to hold the bag, and with the Wonder Clips that never happens because I'm just attaching them specifically in the areas that I need to. And for example, if there's areas that are thicker that I need a little bit of help with finger pressing, like this area where the kind of hinge is for the case, I'll add like additional Wonder Clips in certain strategic areas, like maybe I'll put 3 in a row over here, or you know, you can kind of tailor it to what exactly you need in the finished pressed item. And again, I'd recommend testing that on a small portion of the project or on some scraps first, just to see how the Wonder Clips behave with the fabric that you've used for your project. Jane says, are you self-taught sewing or did you take classes? So my mom taught me how to sew when I was in 3rd grade. We made a couple small projects, but then I didn't really sew again until I was an adult. And I think that was sort of the early days for blogs. And I think it's really helpful having some sort of resource for learning how to sew, because I think especially in the beginning, I was trying to sew from store-bought patterns like Simplicity, Butterick, things like that. And I feel like those are written for people that already know how to sew, but if you're learning some of the language, I found really difficult at the time. And in my early days of sewing, it was really helpful to see sewing patterns presented from indie pattern designers, because often they would have lots of step photos like I have in my patterns, or now even, you know, it's really easy to come across a video for whatever the project that you need to sew with, or if you're getting a Sew Sweetness project, my patterns have videos, options to go along with them. I feel like seeing it done in a video is really helpful, because sometimes then your brain can connect what you've read in the sewing instructions. And yeah, I think just keep sewing, like especially with any project that I'm making, quilts or anything else. Sometimes I just don't know, but the more that I make, just the easier it becomes, almost like second nature. And, you know, obviously I still make mistakes with stuff. I generally don't get too upset if things don't line up, if there's mistakes in the project. And just the more you sew or whatever it is, the better you'll be at whatever that thing is. Michelle says, what thread do you recommend for a domestic machine for bag making, strength, number, and kind? I personally use Aurifil 40 weight thread for bag making. It's 100% cotton thread. However, there's a lot of people that like to use polyester thread for that. So whatever your personal preference is, I personally use Aurifil 40 weight thread. If you're looking for some Aurifil to try, we just have a couple colors on our website. But if you're looking for a more robust color offering, Hawthorne Supply Company stocks, I think, the entire line of Aurifil and all the different thread weights. So you can check out their website for Aurifil. Alex said, I had a wonderful experience with my kindergarten students this week. We made little pouches using my serger, future bag makers in the making. Oh my gosh, that is awesome. Especially when I read that it was kindergartners. That sounds amazing. Karen also says, hit the like button. Thanks for the reminder, Karen. Sarah just finished the blue stem pouch and just love how quick and easy this pattern was and how I could use my leftover fabrics. Directions and video was fabulous. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Glad you enjoyed sewing that project. That's probably the quickest one from Minikin Season 4. And it's a great one for pens, pencils, markers, anything of the sort. Gwen says, what book bag do you suggest for a first-time maker for a 4-year-old? Book, I don't know.
Baker Street bag and shrink it.
A book, though.
Book bag. First-time maker.
I'm thinking of, it's another pattern designer from Illinois, the same state we live in. It's a husband and wife team. Their company name's escaping me right now. Let me try to think of it. They have a series of beginner books that their daughter wrote for sewing when she was a child, and those would be great for a first-time sewist, especially for a young child. Let me try to see if I can think of that.
No, I think she's a first-time bag maker, and the backpack's going to be for a 4-year-old.
Oh, I read that totally wrong.
That's how I'm reading it. I could be wrong.
I read that as a book for a first-time sewist that's like a young child. Okay, if that's not what it is.
We'll see who's reading it right.
Book bag.
I'm watching, Gwen.
First-time maker. Either the Cumberland backpack or the Marlin backpack. I feel like the Marlin backpack is a little bit easier, but both of those do have the video option in case you're interested in both the pattern and the video. Mary says, smile, Danny.
I had like a knee-jerk reaction to smile right away as soon as she said that. I'm so focused on trying to read all the comments, I don't want to miss anything going through.
Yeah, we have our laptop over here, and throughout the show, Danny is scanning for questions, so he collects them so we can put the questions on the screen. Yeah, I know you're...
Right. So I laughed and made me smile. Like it was like a shock, like, smile.
I remember sometimes on the show when you're looking for questions, I'll ask you a question verbally, and I know you haven't heard me because you're looking through all the questions.
Yeah, for sure.
Carrie says the promise ring would be cute for a 4-year-old. Oh, that would be cute. That's a smaller backpack. Kivia says, do you have a pattern for a crochet hook case? I think maybe, actually I have one behind me so I can grab it. Maybe the Creative Maker Supply case. It comes in 3 different sizes in the same pattern. This is size large, so I don't know if size large would be too large, but on the inside there's a space for pockets, and there's also elastic. It was originally designed for pencils. I'm assuming you could adapt it for your crochet hooks. I'm not super familiar with crochet, but I think the hooks would fit here. If you've made the Creative Maker for your crochet hooks, let us know in the comments. I'm pretty sure I've seen in the Facebook group in the past people make this particular pattern.
I'll go back to that.
Oh, okay, got it. Thank you.
It's about the importance of laying the fabric flat and with the stretching.
Yeah, so there were a few options for the backpack, Gwen. The Promise Ring backpack, which is a small backpack. I don't think books would fit in that. The Cumberland backpack or the Marlin backpack. Or you can always feel free to email me, and I'm happy to discuss with you via email. Danny's going to put my email address up on the screen one more time. Yep, there it is. Sarah@sewsweetness.com. Sorry, was there another question that you...
Yeah, I found it.
Okay. Gail said, can you talk about laying out the pattern and the importance or lack of importance when laying the material on the straight of grain? Oh, that's a good question. The only time the grain will matter for bag making, I know it's super important for if you're a garment sewer, is if you're cutting out binding, because the binding needs to be stretchy. I don't use binding in very many of my patterns. There are maybe a handful that have that. So unless you're cutting out binding, you can just cut out your pieces however you would like on the fabric. It doesn't matter if they're going from left to right. It doesn't matter if the pieces are going, if you kind of flip it on its side. I would just recommend, especially I'm assuming because there's so many different print options, I'm assuming you'll just want to focus on getting the print centered or on your fabric however you'd like. And then the only thing you need to pay attention to generally is if you're cutting out binding, or if it's important, if a certain direction is important, I'll specify that in the pattern. But if it's not, then you can just cut out your pieces for a bag however you prefer. The only other thing is for straps. Some people like to cut their straps from selvage to selvage. Some people like to cut, I guess, along the grain, along the selvage, parallel to the selvage. I've done both. I find both fine. Some people feel that the straps are straighter and less wavy if you cut them parallel with the selvage, but I think it's low on the priority list of importance as far as cutting out straps goes. Thank you, Vanessa. Vanessa says, I made the creative maker for my mom's crochet hooks. Thank you. Kivy wanted to know, where can I find the pattern for the case? So if you just Google Sew Sweetness, and
I have a link to our website on the description.
And the name of the pattern is Creative Maker Supply Case. If you just Google that, I'm sure that one will come up. Thank you very much. Your videos can help with any skill level sewer. Thanks, I appreciate that. Amanda says the Cumberland backpack was super easy, especially with the video. I think if you have sewing experience, you could make the smaller version for a 4-year-old. Thanks for the feedback about that, Amanda, and also for the feedback about the sizing.
Yep. Calling it there.
Okay, I apologize if I did not get to your question live, but I will be back again next Sunday answering more questions, and also next Sunday's show will be my usual review show with the notion of the week, new fabric, all of that. One last thing to get to is the giveaway for tonight, and the giveaways are randomly drawn. You have until the end of the day this Saturday to leave a comment on the show. I add up all the comments from Facebook and YouTube and randomly draw a winner, and I will announce the winner on next Sunday's show. Excuse me. My prize for tonight is short ends of cork. So we call them short ends basically because in our shop we sell cork that's 18 inches in width. Anything less than 18 inches, such as if we get to the end of the roll, we call those short ends, and we sort of collect those, save some for prizes and things like that. So the prize for tonight is a box of short ends of cork. So it'll be various different colors and prints. We'll try to pick out a nice selection for that prize. And I have a bonus question for you that you can answer in the comments right now for an extra method of entry. My question is, what is your favorite item to take to a party? It can either be a food item, maybe you bring a board game or some music to the party. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite item to take to a party? On behalf of me and Danny, thanks so much for tuning in.
I thought you were going to ask me what I like to take to a party. I'm like, myself.
Yes, that would be your answer. We appreciate you watching Sewcial Sunday. I hope you have a great week.
For the likes, the comments, subscribes.
Yep.
If you're not already subscribed, please click and do that. And just thank you everything for the awesome community.
Yep, definitely.
Yep.
I hope you have a great week and happy sewing. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.